And just a few, and then we can move into amendments, and I'm sure there'll be a robust discussion because there's so many good points to talk about this. Everybody's going to mention their enthusiasm. There's a few letters here, some of which are critical, and my mom said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. So I don't know what to do with these things. But anyway, this just to get the big picture, Madam Chair and members, and to the public watching, Minnesota is amongst the most generous states in the country, caring for people of all sorts with various kinds of needs. We serve well over 1 million people, maybe 1.2 million individuals with SNAP food stamps and health care and economic supports and child care. And in fact, in the biennium ending this in June, we're going to spend $34 billion between state and federal on services to help those individuals. And curiously, it's going to go to $37 billion in the next biennium and $41 billion in 22 and 23, which sounds like a lot of money. You think, well, certainly there can't be any more needs after that. And I will tell you, any provider working that serves primarily Medicaid people, at the end of that $41 billion, is still going to feel broke. And there are people who are literally going to die because they can't get the services they need, literally dying, especially the high-need people that can't get out of bed without a PCA, and there's already stories now. And so, like, holy cow. And the discussion is, if only we had a little more money, we could buy something. And on the topic of money, Madam Chair, this is the Finance Committee. You're well aware that the state actually is in deficit. If we spend $514 million one time, we managed to hit the end of 23 with minus $11 million. And so the question that all the budget debate is about is, how should we divide up that minus $11 million? Who would like that minus 11? And different ways to contrive to get money to buy needs that are valid. And I dispute none of the concerns in my arena about the challenges of the providers, the needs of the clients, and the families who are affected by that, and the businesses and their opportunities to be all they can be, and I'm a huge fan. My concern is that in the next within 6 years, we're going to be short 40% of the hours for the PCA people that are booked to be in the programs. And everybody, if you have a lucky program, you're only short 15% of the hours for your staffing. That's the good ones. Some people even have more, and 10,000 hours out of 70 and like 1,000, and holy cow. And so part of what this bill is attempting to do is to shine a light on that and actually find a way to make sure that the people who really need it can be served. And I won't go on very long about it, but it's a big deal. And so the responsibility that I have when I sit in your chair up there, Madam Chair, is to look over these 101.2 million people, in particular, the almost 70,000 people that are on waivers and home care, and what are we going to do to make sure these individuals live, thrive, and actually succeed in their lives, and that they can get the services they need. And so one of the elements I did not emphasize yesterday was about the waivers and trying to reduce the inflow. And so, well, that sounds so crass and inhumane. How could you just not serve everybody who wanted or needed something? And well, if we're short 15% of the hours now and going to be short 40% of the hours, then how are we going to find more human beings to come into this world? The demographers tell us that there are no more people in Minnesota to come work in these places. We're projecting maybe a 4,000 person increase in workforce by the 2020s. We used to be 40,000 workers coming in each year net. And so at some point, we have to decide, I'm sorry, I can't serve you. And it's not to save money, and that happens to save a little bit of money, but it's about creating a sturdy program so that the people, particularly if you're a quadriplegic, lying in bed, you need 10 hours a day of service so you can get out, then you actually can get out of bed and go about your day. And so that's what provokes this, the waiver changes. And I want to encourage people who are writing me. This is not cavalier. This is not like snidely whiplash or anything. This is really caring about the people who really, really need it. And most people who are frightened about this, that, I'm going to lose something. No, not at all. This is just the people that need a little bit of services that they could somehow accommodate in their lives so that the people who really need this stuff can actually thrive. So that's the part about the the PCA bit. And then on the child care discussion, we've had quite a bit of talk about that. I'm not sure much in this committee, but in our committee we've talked about it quite a bit. And so program integrity has been a discussion of mine for all my 21 years in this industry. How do you make sure the money goes where it's supposed to go? How do you decide the right people get it? How do you decide to get the right services at the right time? And that it's all being truly delivered. I'm from Anoka. That's Latin for naive. It's just a happy little town. It could have been Mayberry. It actually was Mayberry once upon a time. And so I believe people. But there's some people who are dishonest, and people who would actually set up a program purposely to defraud the state. And so we set up a department at the Department of Human Services, the Inspector General, so they could go crack down on these individuals. And it didn't go as well as we thought, and I'm not spending much time impugning the people there, but the system is not working. It is not working. Their own paperwork shows that there's 7% fraud in the child care program, which then lends and brings into doubt, what about the rest of the $37 billion we're spending? Is the home care going correctly? Is the health care being delivered? Are the vendors of those services providing it as we should? And frankly, nobody knows. If you have 5% fraud on $37 billion book of business, it's almost $2 billion. And Madam Chair, I don't know about how your budget work's going, but I think having $2 billion that could be put into something productive or kept in the hands of the people that gave us the money in their state of trust would be a good idea. And so on the child care program, I am frankly fit to be tied. I was totally shocked when the latest report from the auditor came out and they said pretty much nothing has changed in the operations of the department. And if it was me, and in March, April, May, June, July, I'm being famous at my workplace for having problems, I would change some things. And right now, we think that the counties or somebody turn in vendors for fraudulent issues, and that someone's going to look at it. And it kind of is like the equivalent of, here's a stack of papers, and okay, well, there's that. Oh, another report came in. Well, we'll put it in the stack. And in the meanwhile, truly, millions of dollars go out the door while they decide what to do with these cases if they're going to investigate, if at all. And the majority don't get investigated. The majority is to go like, well, we're good with that. And that's the point of the child care thing. And I purposely made it so that nobody would be affected for a year. The program's going to go on exactly as it went on for the last year into the first year of the biennium. And what we do is we charge the department with actually getting serious about this, and we gave them a long to-do list to come back and report next year. Next year, I guess it'd be. With all the issues that we've had forever about this program, about accessibility, about rates. You drive to one town, the rates are $50 more. What? That's not fair to the providers. That's not fair to the people. What should it cost? The licensing issues, the issues about over-regulation and, frankly, under-regulation. And the issues of workforce support and accessibility across the state, and then integrity. And so that's what my bill is attempting to do. And I would encourage people who are watching at home who are nervous about that they're going to lose child care. No one is going to lose child care. They're going to get better child care. They're going to get the child care that they need when they need it, and at finally a comprehensive overlook. And so there's money in the budget that is put aside for that very purpose. And there's a ton of federal money that's sitting out there, and wherever federal money sits before we spend it. There's a limbo federal money pot. It just floats. As it falls from the sky, they put it into this account. And so I'm confident that the people at DHS can take the challenge I put forward to them and come forward with plans that work. And this is going to go into conference, and we're going to discuss that. But I'm confident, and I'm expecting that coming back out of conference, whatever the bill looks like then, there's going to be more of this integrity in there, so people can be confident that their $37 billion that comes from the same people, state and federal, is going to be well spent.